Hello, my name is Alan Nochumson, and I'm here with Maria Quattrone of REMAX at Home, and we're here today to talk about how to market and sell one's property for sale during the spring market. Hey, Maria, what's up?
Hi, Alan.
So
thanks for having me today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Let me do a couple of administrative items here. Let me try to get onto the Nochumson P.C. page and then to share it, so it's going to be streaming live on my page and then personal page and then maybe yours as well. So let's just let me try to figure this out. This is my first time I'm personally doing one, or my law firm is. So we're just trying to figure that out. So let me get into that. While I'm doing that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, personally or professionally?
Both.
I'm a local real estate broker here in Philadelphia. Been in the industry for 16 years. Married very happily to my wonderful husband, Chip. And we have 3 boy cats. I call them the kittens, although they're 3 years old, 3.5 years old. They're my little furry babies. Love them. Our office is right in the Graduate Hospital area, Philadelphia, 21st and South. It's like borderline, like Center City, and right there at Graduate. We've been there for, gosh, I think it's 4 years, almost 4 years now. So it's a little bit about me. Okay.
Well, you know what? I'm having problems finding out how to share it with my personal people. So hopefully it goes onto my personal Facebook feeds. But let's just talk about how to market and sell a home during the spring market. So what are you doing in terms of properties that are currently under agreement, ready to close? What are the challenges to actually close them during COVID-19?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, making sure that everybody is safe and stays healthy. But over the last 2 weeks that we've been under stay-at-home guidelines and non-essential, we closed around, I think it was 12 or 13 properties, something like that. Some we represented to buyers and sellers, so it was actually more than that. But what basically is happening is there's mobile notaries that are going and getting the documents for the seller notarized, and there's virtual closing. So the deed package would be FedEx to the title company, and they're preparing the statements, and we're wiring money in, wiring money out, or having money wired in and not wiring money out. And the title companies are facilitating the closings. They can do them via Zoom when they're watching the buyers sign the documents. So it just depends. Every single transaction is a case-by-case basis, and it's also of how that particular settlement company, the title company, is handling the closing. But everything that we have had out there that was pending is closed. We still have other pendings for April and May, but so far we've gotten every transaction to the finish line, and most of them actually on time, and some of them we even moved up and they closed a little earlier than they were supposed to. So we didn't have any clients, sellers with their stuff on a truck sitting there waiting. We were able to facilitate it and make sure that it happens. And, my staff, my team worked around the clock in order to make these changes, because obviously before this, we weren't set up for any of that in the state of Pennsylvania. So we were working crazy to make sure that we were able to get our clients to the finish line.
Okay, great. Now, so what about those transactions that you are under agreement, that just got under agreement just before basically the state shutdown? So you signed it, you or your seller or your buyer signs an agreement to sell, and you have to go into the inspection contingency period. Have you been able to do inspections?
No, we haven't.
Okay, so
We
like,
haven't. So, I mean, it's different. Our business is a little bit different because we just don't handle only residential sales.
mhm,
We do commercial real estate, vacant land, multifamily. We do, um, development opportunities as well when working with, our investors. So some of it can be bought sight unseen. Some of it can be bought via video, 3D streaming walking tour, or if it's vacant land, obviously that is after verifying, it's a drive-by and then verifying that it is what it says it is.
mhm.
The zoning RM1, RSA 5, CMX 2.5, whatever it is. So we're not only just dealing with just residential homeowners, so which is good for us in a way because we have a diversity of business, and if one thing is slower, something else is usually busier. But right now, Alan, the biggest issue is making sure that people stay home and they stay safe. And, with the governor's mandate, Homeland Security had deemed real estate federally as an essential business. Obviously, people, what is it? Food, shelter, shelter, real estate, whether you're living in a home or you're living in an apartment, everybody deserves the right to shelter. So, in most of the other states, real estate is essential. In Pennsylvania, we are a non-essential business. So real estate agents are not supposed to be showing properties right now in person. The only thing that we can do is to show them via 3D streaming tour. Some of the other things that we're doing, that's literally on a one by one, case by case basis with our listings. If it's an occupied property, then we're asking the seller to walk through the property with the buyer on a Zoom or whatever, maybe it's FaceTime. It depends on every seller and what their technology capabilities are.
Yeah.
But we sold our first virtual house last week, and we have some offers in on some development opportunities right now. So when I say sell, I meant we put it under contract, and it's closing at the end of this month. So the people are relocating from another state, from Maryland, and they're moving here for work. So they were under contract for their home. So that's like a lot of it too, right? So a lot of people, they were already under contract. Their house is under contract. They had to find a house to live in.
Mm-hmm.
And so how real estate is non-essential doesn't make any sense.
Oh, I agree, especially if someone has no place to live, right? So
yeah, of course, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So again, just to better understand this, if you're under contract or you want to be under contract to sell or buy a house, what you're seeing is a lot of times the inspection contingency is going to be waived, or you're not going to be able to close.
No, I think it's a combination. I think it's determined by each individual situation.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular case, it was a contract from another agent that fell apart, and we were able to have access to the inspection report.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I mean,
you have to take it one by one. Also, so say you are buying a house right now and you want to buy the house, you love it, you see it online.
Mm-hmm.
We walk you through it on Zoom. We do a screen share. We talk about it. Walking through the 3D video. We get extra pictures of it. We speak with the seller. All these things.
Mm-hmm.
You love it. You're like, okay, let's make an offer. We can make the offer. We could go under contract. And as soon as the inspections are allowed, that's when the inspection period can start. So there are ways in order to, if you're a motivated buyer and you want to buy, that is another solution. The other thing also is, say that's all good, but you really still want to walk through the house. Great. As soon as the ban is lifted or real estate becomes essential in PA and the seller allows the property to be shown, we can walk through within 2 days of that. So that could be any day.
Yeah.
The governor, because they just filed a lawsuit with a bunch of other organizations, Pennsylvania Association of Realtors on Friday, submitted with a couple other associations against, to the governor saying you really need to allow real estate to be essential. It's also essential in New Jersey, which in 5 minutes I can be in New Jersey in my car. So, and it's essential in New York. The way that it's done has to be, certain precautions need to be taken, obviously, and it needs to be done in a very, very safe way and just one-on-one, not like big groups of people or anything like that. Meaning, like, if it's a couple, the couple and the agent, and there's certain steps that would need to be taken in order to facilitate it. But we can do all that. We can work all around that if the governor allows it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: like, have you heard of situations? Say it's a newly constructed house. There is a CO already for it, or say there is no CO and it's halfway done. Have you seen situations where as a buyer's agent, you can walk through the house if no one else is in there?
You're not supposed to.
Okay, I'm just
He said stay at home.
Okay.
So I don't recommend it. I mean, it's not worth a fine or losing your license.
Mm-hmm. What about?
Yeah.
No, so then I'm thinking also, what about appraisals? Like, so if you have mortgage financing,
they're still doing appraisals. They're doing drive-by appraisals.
Okay, so what's a drive? Why don't you educate our audience?
Well, I'm not an appraiser, so I don't know exactly what they do, but they drive by.
Yes.
They take a look at the house. They use the comps that are online, and they go by everything that's online already.
That's right. So it's more theoretical. It's more like, hey, let me take a look at what's on that block, what's selling in that block, or has sold in the last few years of comparable property.
And what is the bank comfortable accepting? Yeah.
That's right.
So they are still doing appraisals, can be had.
Okay. Now, isn't there like a COVID-19 addendum that the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors?
There is, and it could be it could be executed and distributed either coming from the buyer or the seller. Okay. So either of those can facilitate that and then ask the other party to sign.
Right.
And there's a 30-day or a 60-day specification in there that says everyone's going to make a good faith effort to consummate the transaction. But if we need more time because of COVID-19, then this is automatically granting it. Basically is what it says in a nutshell.
Okay, not to jump around, but like, again, just going back to the listing, if someone wanted to call you today and list a property for sale, like, why don't you tell me if I was the seller, what would you tell me I would have to do in order to be able to list it so it has a good chance of getting interested buyers?
100%. So we have actually taken quite a few listings. I think it's up to 12 in the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And they're all in different processes. So some are being prepped now to go to market because it's vacant land, or it's multifamily and it's vacant. And we have pictures because the seller either gave us pictures, or we might have already had a 3D tour already in the queue because we might have listed it. Let's just say that we took the listing a couple weeks ago, but it wasn't ready yet to go on live. So we might have a 3D tour available for it. And right now we know that there's demand for property and that buyers still want to buy property, and there's hardly any listings coming on live right now. I think last week it was 167 or somewhere like right around that, which is down considerably. I think it's about 80% down. Okay. But there's a couple things that can happen. One, so there's a status called coming soon in the MLS, and that gives us 21 days to pre-market the property to agents. So today is the 6th, April 6th. I have to keep checking, Alan.
I know. What's today? Today's Wednesday, right?
Today's Monday, April 6th. And so let's just say this week, by the way, I've taken so many listings virtually all the time. This isn't new.
Yeah.
I don't see the client 50% of the time because they might live in another state, or this might be an investment property for them, or it's vacant land. There's no need to have an in-office meeting for that. And you're not going to certainly go out and stand in front of a piece of vacant land with them. We can do that ourselves, drive by it, check out what we need to, and then we have a conference call. Now everything, we've moved to Zoom for everything. Unless that client isn't comfortable getting on Zoom, or they're not technology, they can't do it from a technology standpoint. But I would say 85% are on Zoom. And so we're able to walk them through the process. Now, if it's the home that they're living in and they want to get it on the market as soon as the ban lifts, so we'll virtually walk through the house with them.
What does that mean?
What on FaceTime? Say they have an iPhone, let's say it's on FaceTime. They're showing us the house, walking through. So I'm saying, you show me the kitchen. Okay, go out in the back. Let me see the back of the house. So they're showing us all of that.
Now, do you use that for the marketing, like on?
Well, that's for the initial part, which is the evaluation.
Okay.
And so from the evaluation, we may then do a staging consult of what things need to happen in the house in order for them to get ready to list. So all this stuff, like I might say, this room has to be painted. It's orange. The bathroom's orange. And I could tell you that buyers don't like the color orange in a bathroom. So in order for us to attract the most amount of buyers for your home, I suggest that you have the bathroom painted. They could do that now. They can, that's home maintenance. So they're prepping the house for sale. I could say, okay, open your closets. Let me see your closets. If I see the closet is stacked with stuff, I'm going to say, okay, we need to remove that. Because what that says to a potential buyer is that this home does not have enough closet space. Now, if we take out the stuff that doesn't need to be in there and we declutter it, now when they open the closet up, they're like, oh. But if somebody has the closets all packed up, it's subliminal. The buyer's like, oh, there's not enough closet space in the house, when there could be 20 closets, but they just have a lot of stuff. So these are all the things that we can do now to prep the house for sale and get it ready to go to market. So first of all, the virtual, we call it a marketing and sales evaluation. We don't list property, we sell property. So there's a very different process in it. So it's sales and marketing consultation where, we should be placing the pricing on this particular home. From there, it's the staging. Do we need to do the staging? Do we need to go through? Show me, if you have a garage, show me your garage. Let me see it. Let me see what's in the garage. Okay, these are the things I want you to remove. I want you to, you're going to need to spray it down. You should paint the floor. Like, I'm going to tell them. And if they're my client, I have a fiduciary responsibility to them to give them all the information and to tell them the truth.
All right,
whether
No, I'm sorry to interrupt, but once you finish that evaluation and say they execute on that evaluation, what's the next step?
So how long does you ever have to get your house ready for sale?
Luckily, no. My last realtor did a great job. I'm in it for 11 years. Right, Maria?
Okay. I know her. So usually most people take a few weeks to get their house ready, if not a month.
Yeah.
Just because they're doing stuff. But now they're home, so maybe it could take them less. But that's
I was going to say, this is an excuse, right? Like, so we just painted my daughter's room. It was her birthday present for last year. Her birthday just was March 30th, so we got it just under the gun for the new just before the new birthday. But we painted the room, and we're doing projects around the house because it's spring, right? People typically do that, whether you buy or sell or stay. Yep. Now there's an excuse if you want to sell. Like, you really have to have something in tip-top shape, and you have the extra time, right? Let's say it's a month later. Say we're at April 6th. If we have the consult, Alan, you call me and you say you and McCall want to sell your home. Great. I know. Uh-oh, we have some technical difficulties. That get done. And from there, we agree that this is going to be the price based on the information that we've reviewed together. So they determine what that's going to be. And then from there,
we're sending out documents and such so that we can start prepping on our end, in the back of the house from a marketing standpoint, all the things we're going to do. Now, let's just say that we're still at home in 3 weeks, which we probably, well, it's still the 30th. So let's just say it's the 30th and we're still at home. But you're now ready. You call her like, Maria, I did all the stuff. Great. I always say, we agree on an initial price. I always go back before we go live on any property. I do a reevaluation of the market because we don't live in a vacuum. So that means new things would have come on, things would go up, things would sell, things would not sell. So we would just check on that. But let's just say we're ready to go. And I'm like, well, we still can't get the pictures because the band's still on. Great. We can work with the client and show them exactly what we need to do, what we need to get from them. Also, we're showing them how they can do this tour for us. And then we're editing it.
Yeah. So
and doing what we can. We're editing all the pictures. We're sending them through to be virtually staged if we need to do any of that. Then we can.
Maria, let me just go to the tour. Is there a special like app or program you're going to have to download for them to actually do the tour?
Yeah, my office handles all that. I think it's called Get App or Get.
But whatever, you
Get
have some proprietary.
Yeah, there's a whole program. So and Nicole, who's in my marketing department, and Jenna are working with the sellers very closely to tell them exactly what we need from them in order to showcase the property.
Yeah.
So we
and
did
this
all
is
that.
manageable for a homeowner, right? This is like, again, we all have smartphones. You don't have to have a video production company to like use that app and to make it look good, right? And then you're going to professionalize it by cutting it, maybe putting some cheesy HGTV music.
No. No, we're sending it out. Yep, we're doing some in-house, and some of the stuff it goes out. Like if we're virtually staging it, we send it out to a third party in order to do that. And all of our vacant properties, unless they are shell, we virtually stage. And that's all part of our, our packaging, our program for our sellers. So it makes the house look so much nicer. And if we need to, we can paint walls in it. We can remove carpeting. I don't like to do that a lot of the time because then,
when you mean we, what does that mean?
What
you said we, does it mean your team or you hire someone?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
We have people on staff, but it depends what it is. Some of it we do in-house and some of it we send out to third parties.
Okay, but here, obviously, let's just
collectively speaking, REMAX at Home and Maria Quattrone and Associates is we.
Okay, not you.
No, I'm not a virtual stager and I'm not a painter. And no.
Okay, but in this environment, just assume we're still at a stay-at-home order, or the stay-at-home order is in effect. Like the homeowner is going to have to do all this,
So they'll have to do a few things, and then we'll take it and we'll make it pretty. In the meantime, what we would do then at that point is putting it in a coming soon status, which allows real estate agents to see the property online, and then we can gauge interest from that. And it does not affect days on market. So coming soon is for 21 days. It could be in there for 5 days and go live, or it could be there for 21. At the day 20th, we could decide whether we want to make it active live or if we want to just put it into a TO, which means temporarily off the market status until the ban lifts. If you're looking to sell your property and the only way to sell it is not to be in TO, because it doesn't then distribute to the third party websites. So you would only be able to see it if you were in the MLS searching under TO.
Gotcha.
So
are live realtors using the TO function?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the properties that are occupied with sellers, they put them as TO. I mean, and that's understandable, but I think they're doing it more to protect days on market in some cases. And that means that if they are really willing, able, and ready to sell that property now, it's not being marketed.
Gotcha. Now, are you going to do any, like, for instance, maybe some virtual open houses where?
Yep. We have one scheduled for this weekend. It's going to be on Zoom. I know they're doing one for a property. We're just launching a broker open house, a virtual broker open, which is what we usually would do on Tuesdays.
Mhm.
And we're doing a gift certificate giveaway on that, and then virtual open houses on Sundays as well. And then we're inviting people through Facebook. Yeah, we're taking this time to create new systems and processes internally from a digital landscape.
Yeah. So how do you advertise like the virtual open houses? You mentioned some of the
On
platforms.
on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. So we have 4 different assets that we manage,
Mhm.
meaning we have REMAX at Home, Maria Quattrone, and then Rise Real Estate and Philadelphia Market Watch.
Mhm.
And then within all of those, we have LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and I might be forgetting. I might
So
be forgetting one,
so
but
if they
so we have
so
about 20 different channels.
Mhm.
Plus, we utilize all of the we are in different Facebook groups. So that's another 20 some groups. So now we can literally be across 40 different social media outlets.
Yeah. So in some ways, like, back in the day where they used to market houses in the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Sunday section, the Philadelphia Inquirer, right? Now you probably get a decent amount of people for nothing, right? Through
Yeah,
these
well,
digital platforms.
we are going to be boosting them. The ones that are on the business page, we can't boost some personal page.
Mhm.
And so this weekend will be our first experiment with that. We do know that right now on Facebook, 52% more people have eyeballs on Facebook.
Mhm.
So that's crazy amount of people.
Well, it's also our generation. Like, I would think that the younger generation, this is what I was told, is that Instagram, like, and you have that platform
Well,
anyway.
and just on social,
Yeah.
it's up by like 52. It's almost double
Yeah.
basically.
Now, do you
And
have,
now there's TikTok. So where you created a TikTok account, I said, tell me what you want me to do. I'll just do it. I
but
just
no
say to
payment.
them, this is what I want. Okay, we're doing, here's the copy I want. Put it together, send it to me. I tweak it, I send it back, they send it back, I do the video, it gets distributed to them, they take it, we have a whole thing. It's a lot of, like, I'm committed right now to do a video a day and to do a Facebook Live a day.
Me too.
Um, so it's a whole new way. This is how we have coffee now, Alan.
That's right. That's right. I just don't know how to make it. I'll ask Michal to do
Well,
it.
I'm having some tea.
There you go.
I've been drinking a lot of tea.
What about Zillow and Trulia? Are there platforms where you can have virtual happy hours, open houses, happy hours as well would be preferable.
Yeah, I haven't seen them do, you can advertise it on there, but
Hmm.
I don't see them doing it. I mean, I've seen, about a lot of people, a lot of agents nationally canceled their buys with them because people are worried about expenses.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
And so, it's a challenge. They even offered 50% off of whatever you were spending.
Some of the lawyer sites that are similar have reached out to me as well, with the reduced marketing fees. So let's say we're under agreement, right? Um, and we had this COVID-19 addendum where a lot of the deadlines are extended reasonably by the parties. But I want to do an inspection. Have you seen inspection companies maybe do some virtual inspections? I mean, I can see where, again, maybe there would be some waiver the buyer has to sign, but I can see where maybe the seller, accesses their phone and puts it around, the house, and there could be some type of at least preliminary inspection.
Well, so right now, I mean, this morning I spoke with Chris Early from Liberty Inspections, and
Mhm.
he talked about finding a way to do inspections virtually, meaning when the ban lifts, that the actual buyer doesn't need to be there, but the home inspector will go through, and they could do it with a GoPro on them, basically, because they're
Mhm.
walking around. they could see it. It's really, we're really tied, Alan, until the governor decides that real estate is an essential business. And until then, I mean, we have to do our part and follow the directive of the city of Philadelphia and state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So have you heard of, I was actually talking to another realtor about this. What about, have you heard about situations where, you have to, if you're in a condo building, for instance, and you have to, you're the owner of the property and you need to leave. Have you heard of any issues in terms of the owner leaving the property and then the new buyers coming in to take residence?
I heard that they don't want to be, they don't want people to do it.
Yeah. I mean, so you heard that as well?
But yes, I did. I haven't experienced it just yet, but I mean, the condo buildings, it's a problem. I mean, I was on G Park Coffee Talk this morning, and Alan Dom was on there, Councilman Dom, and he had talked about how, 3 people in his building have COVID-19. And if you live in a condo building, you're coming down the elevator, there's buttons, it could be anything. I mean, you don't know.
No, I hear you.
I think that's part of why they don't want people moving in and out. I mean, it makes sense. Like, you're going to have movers coming in. It's definitely, it's a big challenge.
Yeah. Now, have you heard of situations, and I've come across them, where, say you can't get the certification statement, or you can't get the CO if it's new construction, but it's done. You've got a verbal with the CO. Have you heard of situations like where, leaseback situations where the buyer leases the property from the seller temporarily?
Well, not in regards to new construction. I'll leave that one for a moment because, they haven't been able to really work in the last week, or depending on, some stopped 2 weeks ago who didn't get a waiver. But we do have one where we needed a judge to sign off on a document for a bankruptcy, for whatever, that they needed this piece of paper.
Yeah.
And we had to extend the closing. So the buyers already moved into the house. And we still don't have the piece of paper. And the buyer was only supposed to be there. I mean, it's only supposed to be a week, but because this all happened, now it's been 3 weeks at least.
Yeah.
And we're now waiting for one other signature so that it could go to close.
And that was like potentially a title issue, I would assume, right? Because there was some type of bankruptcy, so there was some exception on the policy.
Correct.
Yeah. So just
my office does Joan handles all these things, so I don't know. I can't give you the exact detail. I can tell you that the buyer's living in the house.
Well, and this is a point I want to bring up in terms of selling a house, and just to educate our audience, what a leaseback situation is when a buyer is going to lease the property from the seller for an agreed period of time. Essentially, the buyer turns into a tenant, and the seller turns into a landlord. So
in this case, there was no monetary exchange.
Yeah, there is no monetary exchange. But one of
because it's the seller's issue.
Yeah, well, yeah, it could.
The buyer was ready to close.
No, it's true. But one of the issues the seller now has is that technically they're creating a landlord-tenant relationship.
Yeah.
So if technically the seller needs to get a housing inspection license, which is commonly referred to in Philadelphia. We're talking about Philadelphia property as a rental license. They technically also have to give the buyer/tenant a certificate of rental suitability in the Partners for Good Housing Handbook. If the buyer does not have that information, technically the landlord/seller can't evict. Say this thing goes sideways and somehow the buyer loses their financing. So now you have someone who lives in the property who's
it's real. Luckily, this particular buyer has a good job, and her business is that she works for is an essential business. So chances of that happening are very slim.
Yeah.
But of course, anything is possible. But that's why, I mean, in that particular case, it's supposed to hopefully close this week, and that none of that will have to happen because it's less than 30 days.
Mhm.
So
Have you heard of any mortgage companies like pulling financing on any current deals, or
I
where
mean,
people lost pre-approvals even?
we haven't personally.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are plenty of those with, the people, because people filed for unemployment. I'm sure that that's happening.
Mhm.
But we haven't personally seen that
Okay.
at this juncture. It's a day to day. People say, well, what's going to happen next week? I go, I can only take today. And I think that's why, Ellen, I've been able to be in really good spirits and to be positive and working on, being the solution for people, is because I'm not looking out that far, and I only can do what I can focus on today.
That's right.
And that's something they teach in in AA. I'm not in that. I'm not in it, but I know all about it.
Yeah.
And we don't know what is going to happen, but we can control is the action that we take today. And my goal is to be a lighthouse for people and to take massive action on the daily and give our clients everything, give them all we got to get this done. And our new clients to, work with them very closely and strategically about how we can move, because people do, we have people that want to, they're like, I have my grandkids are in Atlanta and I really want to be in Atlanta. And
Yeah.
especially since this, I want to be in Atlanta. And then other people that are like, you know what? I don't really know that I need to live in the city anymore. I want to have a, house in the suburbs. I can work virtually. I don't need to be downtown every day. And then you have other people that are like, I have this great big house and, maybe we just want to get a little place in the city. And it's all about your lifestyle and, what you want. I mean, honestly, for us, I want a pool, my own pool with my own backyard with a pizza oven, which I don't even eat pizza unless it's gluten-free, but I can make brick oven chicken in it or whatever. But I mean, and that's what it comes down to. Real estate is, it's your life. It's like now more than ever, like, do you have the right size home?
Well, it's a home, right? Right. It's not.
Yeah. Do you have the right size home? Is it too big? Is it too small? Are you like, oh my God, this is crazy. We got to get out of here.
Well, now that we're all stuck in our various homes, we know what we like about our home and what we don't, and maybe things that we want to improve and things where we can improve it, and we're going to have to seek alternative living arrangements, right, in the future. So it may actually be a good thing in a lot of respects because it will have people reevaluate what's important to them and what they really want, right?
Well, I think people are already doing that. I think that they are evaluating. I can't say. I only can speak for myself. So
That's right. That's why I can speak for myself too. So
I've been reevaluating everything.
Yeah, so I'm not the most technologically savvy person. So do we have any questions on our Facebook page right now? Do you see any?
I don't see anything.
That's cool. All right. Well, is there
I'm on
anything?
Zoom with you. I don't have it open.
I didn't look either. I think that this is my first time hosting it. I think
is this on your page?
It's on the Nochumson P.C. page, and I tagged you on it.
I can look it up.
Yeah, I wanted to look it up, see if we have any questions. But while you're looking, are there any other thoughts that you have about marketing or selling your property that people should know, or about buying a property that would be more unique to these times than any time in our history?
I mean, I say that working with an expert is really important right now to guide you through this. People understanding that, yes, we can still sell real estate. We're doing it in a different way. There will always be people who have to buy and always be people who have to sell. So the real estate industry is not going to go away. It may look different. Our landscape is different right now, and it may look different a month from now. But first and foremost, I mean, it's about being safe and about being healthy and about, because you don't know if you carry it, right? So you have to really social distance and stay away from people.
Yes.
Like I said, I don't know if I remember I was telling you earlier, but we went out this weekend, I went from in the house to in the truck to out of the truck to back in the house again. And I'm very purposeful in that I really don't want to, I doubt now that I have anything because I've been home since the 19th of March. But I don't want to get sick. I don't want to give it and I don't want to get it. And when we were driving back into the city, I seen all these people with no mask on, like near each other. And I'm thinking, have we not gotten the message yet? Please stay home or stay away from people if you are out.
Yeah,
Let's get this over with.
Yeah, I mean, Michal and I, we run like every other day outside.
Are you like running in the street or are you?
Well, that's the thing. So we will come across people who are in the middle of the sidewalk and we're like, what are you even thinking? Like the sidewalk's wide enough where you can easily keep the 6 feet. And the fact is we're sweating, we're breathing heavy. We're the ones who, if you think about it, are more at risk to give someone something than someone just casually walking by. But they're walking in the middle of the sidewalk. We run into the streets, we'll cross the streets. Like we're very careful about that. That's actually one of the reasons why we run into the city, because we see less volume of people. I've heard what's going on Kelly Drive and Martin Luther King Boulevard. There's a lot more people with terms of bikes and people walking and roller skating and running. So we actually run into the city because we find it's less people, but people are just oblivious. I get it. So if people want to reach you and talk about like this consultation and get the ball started, hopefully, it sounds like it could be up to a month process in terms of the initial evaluation, the homework the person actually has, and then to like reevaluate it. Like if they want to start the process right now with you, how can they reach you?
Yeah, they can give me a call. 215-607-3535. They can email me at maria@callmq.com, or they can just send me a message via Facebook Messenger. I respond to that as well. For us, it's worth a conversation to see if we can help you. I always tell people if I don't think that I can, and I always tell them as well that it's their timeline, not ours. So we're here. I want to remove any kind of sales skepticism because our job is to help the people that want our help and assistance. And if you're not ready, then that's okay. So it's like, it's a very low pressure situation. And I've talked to people last year that didn't sell their property this year, and people from 2 years ago. So for us, it's about building the relationship, and that's, we have so many repeat clients, and we do get a good amount of referrals, both from agents nationally and from locally, client referrals, because, we want to make it the best transaction that we can for them. And also, always doing the right thing. And even if it's painful for us.
And then the other thing is, I think you mentioned that you're going to have some virtual open houses. That's tomorrow?
No, this weekend.
Oh, this weekend. Okay. So if anyone wants to look, sign up.
Yeah, we'll be posting about them. I'll also let you know when they're going to be, because I know that the marketing staff was working on that today. We usually post, even for regular ones, we post like 4 days out. So I suspect that they'll be posting those for Wednesday for the weekend.
Yeah. So, and then they can find like you and your company on all the social media platforms, and they'll be able to get invitations or sign up for these open houses through those social media platforms.
Yeah. And we're also creating a sign up on our Live Love at Home website. So
What's the address for that?
Yeah, we're going to have virtual showings on there. So it's liveloveathome.com. They can go on the REMAX at Home Facebook page, my personal page. There's also Philadelphia Market Watch. And I also send out information weekly with a video about what's going on in the market. So people can also get my weekly newsletter directly from me.
All right. Well, great. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Alan, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Have a great day.
All right, thanks. Bye.